Welcome everyone to your first video lesson for Intro to Algebra this year. This is going to be some practice with learning how to do some of these algebraic skills, but it's mostly going to be a review of that and really working on making sure that we're mastering the different procedures for the class. So in every video, it's going to start off, we're going to make sure that we're in our guided notes packet, we're on the correct page. We're going to go basically in order, but make sure that the top of the page says that this objective is to solve multi-step equations with one variable. Right, so you're going to solve equations like what we see here in the problems. The next thing you'll do is you'll see the homework assignment. And here we're going to do one little edit. 53 doesn't have the answer in the back of the book, so you can just take your pen and you can cross out 53. So once you've looked over the homework and you make sure that you're on the right page, when I go through the notes, you're going to take notes along with me, fill them out as we go. One really helpful thing about a video versus something in class is that you can pause whenever you want, so that if you don't fall behind, you can do that. You can turn on closed captioning if that's helpful for you on YouTube. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments here and I will get to them as soon as I can. Another really important thing is that if you get stuck on some of the homework questions and you're checking in the back of the book, you do the problems and you just can't figure out the answer, there's a form in Google Classroom that will let you check all the ones that you're confused on. So let's say you get really stuck on 13 and 39. Just go open that form that's in the same assignment that you found this video in. Go to that form and you can check the numbers of the questions that you were stuck on. And if there's a question that a bunch of students are stuck on, I will post an answer and a guide on how to do that. So once you've gotten yourself all set up, we're going to take notes, fill them in here. All your notes are going to have a category here on the left-hand side that's going to have terms, formulas, little added things like this, and then the problems that you'll be working through on this big side over here. So usually we'll start with the notes on each page, and we're going to start with the definition of variable. Now, a variable is a letter that is representing an unknown or changing number. So this is usually what will happen is I'll say something and then it takes me a little bit longer to write it, and so it'll just appear like that. So in this case, if we're looking at this example problem number 1, we can see that our variable, our letter, is x. So x is the variable in this case. And we are going to solve it, and the goal, whenever you see solve as a problem, that means our goal is to get the variable by itself or isolate the variable. So you know you've got the problem done if the answer looks like x or p or n, whatever the variable is equal to some number. So that's always what it's going to look like. You'll notice that there's nothing touching the variable. It's all by itself on one side of the equation and then the numbers on the other. So when we're looking at a solve problem like this, we see our variable x and we want to ask ourselves, okay, it's not by itself right now. We've got a 3 and a 10, and we want to ask ourselves, how do we get rid of the 3 and the 10? Well, you can use the opposite operation. These are sometimes called inverse operations. So we're going to start by getting rid of the 10, and so we have minus 10. The inverse or opposite of subtraction is addition. So when we add 10 to both sides, minus 10 plus 10, that cancels out to being 0. So you might write 3x plus 0. But that's just 3x. So now we can see we've gotten rid of the 10. And I don't expect you to do every step. I'm just showing you why that works. Now if we add 10 to one side, it's equal, so we need to make sure that we're treating both sides equally. You can think just like the golden rule. If I add 10 to one side, the equal treatment is adding 10 to the other. So you need to add 10 to both sides. And so then you get 24 here, because 14 plus 10 is 24. Now when numbers are just shoved together like this is showing multiplication. right? This is a times problem. So we want to, the opposite of multiplication is division. I will always write division like this as a fraction. But if you want to write it with the symbol like this, that's fine. You'll notice fractions, these are the same basic symbols. And then the 3 cancels out. And I'm going to just bring the work over here. So then we get x is equal to 24 divided by 3, which if we remember our times tables correctly, is 8. You can see we have our nice final answer here. The variable's by itself. We can look at one more practice problem if you're interested. If you're feeling confident, feel free to move on. If you want to see one more example, we've got a second question here. B over 4, or B divided by 4, equals 27. So here we have our addition problem. So we're going to start by subtracting 27 on both sides so that we can cancel out or eliminate. You'll see that phrase used several times. So then you have B divided by 4 equals 12. As we said, the opposite of division is multiplication. So if we take divided by 4 and we say, I'm going to multiply that, 4 times 4 divided by 4 cancels out. And we have to do the same thing to both sides. And so we end up with B by itself, so we know that we have our final answer here, is equal to 48. If you have any questions on this topic, please put them in the comments below, or you can ask me about them during our one-on-one meeting this week. I look forward to talking with those of you who I haven't gotten a chance to meet quite yet. And let me know if you have any questions about today's work or about our activity for Wednesday.